the News Channel 5 network, this is MorningLine with Nick Beres.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine on this Tuesday. It's good, as always, to have you with us. We have a good show on tap. We're going to be talking this morning about elder care. Again, as you know, it's a regular program that we do not only on MorningLine, but you know that Barbara McGinnis, the dynamic duo. Okay, they have a show that airs every Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning as well that deals with that specifically, but I like to do it some on MorningLine because really the whole idea of that show started right here, and that's why Barbara McGinnis is with us this morning. Good morning to you. It's true.
It is
we
true.
We started the template years ago. Tim would come on and
yes.
We did it, and then you realized, wow, there's a lot of information here. People eat it up, and now the two of you host a great show.
Tim wanted to do that for quite a long time. He thought, well, we have so much information. It's not just our information, but great resources in the community.
Yeah.
It is a topic that people don't seem to know enough about.
No.
Elder care law.
When you need it, all of a sudden you're there, and it's always good to prep. All right, you know, always when you come on or when Tim comes on, we'll open up the phone lines. Calls will come in already, 737-7587. But just to help guide our viewers, if they have questions or what kind of questions you can answer, let's just go over again what elder law is, which is a growing segment of the field in law. I mean, it's getting bigger.
It is. So elder care law, it is a specialty practice. Tim and I, in our practice, are 100% devoted to elder law. And it is about the legal, financial, and personal care issues or domains and how they integrate. So elder law is certainly a lot about estate planning. People have to have the right documents in place in their life. Their powers of attorney, we say, are very, very important because they direct how the persons are going to be taken care of. Their will or trust or some type of testamentary instrument. But we do a lot of advocacy work, which means you have to understand the rules and regulations that govern how care is provided. So you make sure that people are getting good care and that providers are working to their fulfillment, their compliance with policies. So there's compliance, but there's also our compliance with Medicare, Medicaid, VA rules. So there's a lot of federal and state programs that we work with. Can be very complicated, especially when you think about the integration and how they work together, or sometimes don't work together. That is really important. So
now, when most of the clients come to you, because we say elder care, so someone's saying, well, does that just mean you're dealing with senior citizens? I'm asking these questions. I know some of the answers before I ask it, but it's for you. All right, but it's not just seniors that are coming to you. It's
people with chronic care conditions or
their families
or disabilities.
But their families can all, because you know, I had to get involved with this. You know, you see younger clients as well that are maybe planning for the future or for a loved one.
Well, we do estate planning for younger people, like our kind of younger people, our age group, younger people. But if you come to us to talk about your parents would be our clients, assuming if they lived in Tennessee. Because we can only take care of people that live in Tennessee. But sometimes it is the children that come to our office that seek care and guidance for their parents. But the children are not our clients. The elder would be.
You guys always talk about that. They may come, but you advocate for the parent or the elderly individual to make sure whatever's decided is best for them.
That's right. And it's real important from the very beginning that everybody's clear about who's the client, because attorneys owe duties of loyalty and competence and confidentiality to our client. And that does not mean that it's the whole family that's represented. So we identify who that client is up front, and that keeps everything a whole lot clearer between the people that are the stakeholders, everybody that's interested. It's not necessarily the client. Right.
All right. So we'll take phone calls, but you know, there's so many things that we can talk about under this umbrella. I'm just wondering. I mean, healthcare is a big part of it. We do stories in the newsroom every day about seniors worried about what is going to be covered, and how are they going to pay for it, and do they need a supplemental plan? Do you deal with a lot of that?
We do. In fact, we have public benefit specialists on staff.
You have nurses on staff.
We have social workers on staff. But so these public benefits people specialize in different areas of public benefits, obviously, like Medicare. So he would help someone determine should they move from an Advantage plan to traditional Medicare, and if you do that, then what kind of supplement do you need? And we don't sell any products, so if somebody needed to buy a product, we would refer that out to the right people in the community. But just sit down and talk about that. Or like last year during open enrollment time, when it's a good idea for everybody to review their Part D plans, that's what covers their prescriptions. Just by making sure they had the right Part D plan, he saved our clients lots and lots of money, like almost $100,000 aggregate, because right plans, right cost, and what it does to their particular drug profile.
Yeah, that's a big deal. First of all, the profile might have changed, but on top of that, there may be new plans. Exactly. And so the idea is to always review it. See, some people will be, I'm satisfied with what I have. And if you are, that's great.
Absolutely.
But I think you're right. Come every open enrollment time, it's nothing for you to at least look and see what's out there. And so you guys can help him while you're not selling any specific product one way or the other. You can find and tell them this is what you need and look and see if there's plans that match.
Right. And another thing that happens a good bit is if the children live near in Tennessee and they want to bring their parents to Tennessee, well, sometimes they have an Advantage plan. And Medicare Advantage plans are often regional. They don't cover the entire United States in a particular. So that needs to be reviewed. So, like if your parents moved from Idaho,
Boise, that's right,
here, and they had an Advantage plan, we'd have to look to make sure that their plan would take care of them now in Tennessee.
Okay.
That happened yesterday for somebody that was in my office.
You have to look at that. Actually, I didn't really realize that some of those Advantage plans are regional. And it doesn't really vary, you know.
Well, it's network based. It's managed care based, and so they have to build their networks. And they're usually, now if it's an emergent situation, you're traveling and you have an emergency, that's different. But you relocate, you change your domicile, then that needs to be reviewed.
Okay. You mentioned my parents, and I've learned so much from Barbara and Tim, who have actually helped me with some of the questions I've had with dealing with my folks. One of the big issues, a lot of people wonder about where they're going to live if they finally leave their home, they move into assisted living. That's where my folks are in Boise. I don't mind sharing that. And the big question there was, you know, they're paying, and you know, assisted living is not cheap, but I think we've got a good deal where they're at. But the idea is when they finally run out of money, we all know, Medicaid does not pay for nursing homes. But I guess in a way they do, in the sense that my assisted living facility my folks are living in now just recently became Medicaid qualified. Okay. So the way I understand it, that means they may live there and go through all of their savings through the rest of as long as they live. When they finally run out, this assisted living facility then will have to go through the process of applying for Medicaid. Says we're not going to kick them out after you've paid, who knows, $250,000 of your life savings into us. We will kick you on to Medicaid, and that will cover you here. Does that make sense?
It does, but there's a couple things to think about. Medicaid is a set of federal laws, but it's administered in every state.
Right.
And so every state could administer a little differently. So I don't know what Idaho looks like in terms of how they cover community-based programs like assisted living.
Right.
In Tennessee, under the TennCare Choices program, Choices Group 1 would cover nursing home care.
Okay.
And then Choices Group 2 is what covers home care or care in a community-based setting like an assisted living facility. And it doesn't cover all of the cost. In a nursing home, after you're approved, you're eligible. Your income is your share of your cost of care there. And then TennCare picks up the difference to pay the facility the entire contracted rate. Doesn't work that way in an assisted living facility. It's more like TennCare would give the facility a set amount of money to cover care needs. The patient or the resident still has to cover the cost of the room and board rate.
Now, what if they're out of resources? Now, I suppose my folks will always get Social Security. Now, I don't know what it is in Idaho. I mean, we've gone, I do know, I mean, we've gone over it. And the idea, because that's what's a bunch of hooey to me, is if you move in, if you're a family member and you move into an assisted living facility, and let's say you've worked all your life and you have your 401ks and you put all your money into this, and let's say you live 10 years there, and you've put in for your care $250,000, okay?
Yeah.
And then you run out of money, you're broke at that point, and they kick you out. That's garbage. Okay? period. I hope you agree, because if you don't, you're wrong. That is pure garbage that a assisted facility kicks you out after you've paid all that. Oh, well, no, we don't accept Medicare. You're out of here. Medicaid, you're out of here. That's crap.
There are some. One thing we have to realize is that healthcare in our society is a business. It really.
So if they want the $250,000 business, they better work with us. We're going to go elsewhere.
It is a business. There are some facilities, though, that do make it their policy and practice to continue to care for people that have exhausted their funds. I would not say that that is a standard practice or the majority of places, but there are some. There's even some in Nashville that will, once you've exhausted your funds, you've been a long-term resident there, you've exhausted, you have your income, they do some sliding scale, or they do some compensation type arrangements with the client. And yeah, that certainly sounds fair, doesn't it?
That's the way I look at it. All right, listen, we'll take a break. When we come back, we've got some phone calls for you, Barbara.
All right.
Are you ready for that? The number is 737-7587. More to talk about, and we've got a lot of ground to cover here, so we'll be back with more until 9 o'clock right after this.